Full disclosure, my heart is racing right now because I know I have to talk about this in part 3. And it is the 30-point document and why I believe it is one of the most misleading document that Blake Lively put in front of our faces. Before I do that, though, I need to go back to two things. One is paragraph 15 that I read in the last part that you watched, and it's with Jenny Slate. So let me remind you what it said. It said, as a result of guild strikes, production of the film shut down on or about June 14, 2023. In the midst of that shutdown, on October 13, 2023, Ms. Lively confided in a text to a female cast member that she was dreading going back to our film. I keep getting hits of the experience in really upsetting ways. The female cast member expressed empathy for Ms. Lively and confirmed similar feelings. Well, let's look at what she confirmed. What did Jenny Slate actually confirm? Jenny Slate says, oh man, like it's a real don't even get me started kind of feeling. And I only have one scene left. You have so much more. I'm sorry for that. Sometimes I get so angry at myself for ignoring signs in Justin. And it's like, oh no, what kind of signs? What kind of signs were you ignoring, Jenny Slate? Sometimes I get so angry at myself for ignoring signs in Justin that I should have taken seriously. In terms. What terms? Jenny Slate, wait, is this person actually in line with a feminist perspective? The plus side is that I will never make this mistake again. I will say, though, I wanted to work with you. And that was definitely the right instinct. But yeah, wow. What a one-of-a-kind show. So what you were upset about, Jenny Slate, was not in terms of sexual harassment, but this guy did not line up to what you thought a feminist perspective would be. He doesn't line up with what your ideological idea is of what a feminist should look like. I was expecting some conversation about SH here. No conversation. Instead, it's bemoaning the fact that he didn't line up with the feminist perspective. And we're going to read an earlier text from Blake Lively, where I believe it lines up with the 30-point document and how she did want to weaponize some sort of HR report to try to get some control over this movie because she didn't get the dailies. And I will always say the dailies was it. You know why? According to Blake Lively's lawyers, that is the day or that is the time frame that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds allegedly unfollowed Justin Baldoni. We're going to get to this a little bit later. But in Blake Lively's lawsuit, her lawyers say in a footnote, in fact, both Ms. Lively and her husband had unfollowed Mr. Baldoni's social media accounts 10 months prior. So what is 10 months prior to May 2024, July 2023? Pray tell, what happened in July 2023? July 19, 2023, Lively again reaches out to check in with Baldoni during the SAG strike to inquire about Baldoni's assembly cut and to request access to the dailies for a second time. Her first request was on June 13, 2023. Baldoni, feeling it was too early to share, promises to send her cuts as soon as he is ready. Lively reluctantly paid nominal lip service to the notion that Baldoni, the film's director, was entitled to the time and space needed for his directorial cut, but continued to push. Baldoni did not assent to this request and said he was excited to show her when the time is right. Y'all, I need to say all of this because this is all important because it leads to all these things, right? She's upset, not because of sexual harassment. She's upset because she thought she was going to have more say. This leads to a very important part. This is August 29, 2023. Blake said, yikes, maybe he should send me the whole assembly then, because what I saw was terrifying. It made me want to get out of the movie. Warren said, totally. That's why I think you should see it. Let's discuss tomorrow. Blake said, no one has offered. He's actually being super protective and strange about even letting me see some dailies of other scenes. I thought I was a producer. He said no one had dailies but Alex and Jamie, which we know isn't true. Warren says, Alex mentioned that he had sent you some footage. I told her I hadn't heard that, but I'm flagging that they're happy with the assembly. The smart thing to do is preemptively show you what they've seen, not a portion. And Blake said he sent a scene. What was her response to that? Warren said, otherwise, you'll wonder why you didn't get all of it. She agreed, but I told her I would talk to you and get back to her. Blake says, there's nothing to get back to. They should show me the movie. I'm an executive producer, and they need me to be engaged in this thing during production and impress. His entire sales pitch is how collaborative he is and how much he values women, yet they're not going to allow me to see the movie? I've never been not invited into the edit room for my opinion, much less had to beg to see additional scenes of Dailies. His promises of how he works so far have proven to be empty, and I am not going to engage with the film if this is the way they play it. Warren then said it's process. I told her I hadn't spoke to you about it, made the suggestion, like all things I'm going to have to call and say, yeah, he only sent her a scene. It's the smart thing to just send it all to her. Blake says, do not give her anything. No opinion, no take. You can simply say she didn't say if Alex asks what I thought. Just that I saw one scene. Warren said, okay, they're going to be stupid, and I predict having to make the request prior to my further work at some point. Hope I'm wrong. Blake said, I think he's stupid right back. But she's an EP. Am I missing something? But he's a collaborative filmmaker who does TED Talks and podcasts about valuing all the women in his life. That's not true. Vogue asked me to commit to a cover for this thing. No way I'm doing any of that without seeing it. I may pass. Warren, they're going to show it to you. I just hope they're preemptive. Blake, when I told him before, he and Jamie said they don't know who Anna Wintour is or if that's a big deal, but sounds like maybe it is, but they don't know that stuff. Then she sends 3 pictures of just these faces because she just can't get beyond her world. She thinks it's so dumb they don't know who Anna Wintour is. Warren said, I told Alex you're going to have notes prior to any additional photography. Do the smart thing. And then Blake says, they're all clowns. I have my HR report ready also, FYI. Nowhere in this whole thing where she's complaining out the wazoo does sexual harassment ever come up. This is about Dailies. This is about not seeing it, not having her perspective, not asking for her opinion. That is the issue she had. I said, I want to see this HR report because she never turned it in. And you're not supposed to get rid of anything, right, Blake? No spoilation. Let's see it. Also, the 30-point document they claimed is contemporaneous. Impossible. Contemporaneous means you write it as it's happening. The way that list is written is not contemporaneous. So let's just get to the list. All right, let's go to the list. Let's see if we have enough time to go to the list. Paragraph 20. During the January 4 meeting, the parties discussed in detail the inappropriate conduct that Miss Lively, her employees, and other cast and crew experienced at the hands of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. He. Miss Lively read the list below in its entirety, and after a discussion, all parties agreed that the outlined conduct would cease. I'm reminded of Steve Sorowitz's deposition. Even though this is talking about the 17-point list, which is what it was dwindled down to, this is what Steve Sorowitz said, right? Did Wayfair agree to meet these 17 conditions? Steve Sarowitz, ultimately, we signed the letter under duress with a caveat saying that we didn't necessarily agree with it, but we signed the letter in order to get her back to work. But we had not done the things in the first place and continued not to do the things that were in the letter. Mr. Gottlieb, I will move to strike as non-responsive. Gottlieb, my question was just whether Wayfair agreed to meet the 17 conditions, yes or no. Steve, we agreed to continue not to do the things we weren't doing. This is going to be a 2-parter of this part 3. This is part 3A. I'm ending it here. I needed to do a preliminary video before I did paragraph 20. So I apologize. I said to y'all yesterday, the paragraph 20 was going to be next. It is. I'm still going to do it this evening. I will. But I needed to do this one first. And so please watch this one, and then I will try to get the next one up. If you like this preliminary video before the actual real video, please like this video and subscribe if you have not subscribed to me yet. If you really like it so much, go ahead and hype it. That would help tremendously. And hopefully I will see you in the next one that I am putting up later tonight. That is the plan. Thanks.